Hey everyone, today I want to talk about Dante Pettis, wide receiver out of Washington. This guy wasn't really talked about as much as I think he should have been. He was drafted in the second round by the 49ers, so clearly teams paid attention to him. And you've heard a lot of good things about him from his receiving game. He set the NCAA record for most receiving touchdowns in a career. But that's not really what I think the strength of his game is. When I watch him play, he reminds me of kind of a hybrid of like three players, where he does kind of similar things to what these three players do. I hate doing pro comparisons because I think every player is their own type of player, and I think it's stupid. But at the same time, I get it because it's meant to describe the traits of someone who can fit a specific scheme, and so it comes in handy in that way. Despite the fact that I don't like pro comparisons, I'm going to kind of give him three people that he reminds me of. And these three guys are Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, and Michael Thomas. Now, he's not as physical as Michael Thomas, and his body frame kind of reminds you of more of a Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams. One thing that he has in common with all three of these guys is whenever you hear NFL players talk about them, they talk about how good their release is off the line of scrimmage. When I read comments, what people said about Dante Pettis, a lot of people commented he's got a slight frame, he got bottled up by more physical receivers at the line of scrimmage. I just quite frankly don't agree with that at all. He has a really good release, and he's got just this ability to just set people up and just completely blow past them to the point where that person can't even get their hands on them. And it's something you're seeing more and more in the league these days, and it's like when you watch Keenan Allen release off the line of scrimmage, or Devontae Adams, Michael Thomas, or even Jordan Reed, it's like this basketball move type thing where you got a good, I don't know what they call it, a crossover, even though you're not playing basketball. But he's got these inside steps and these outside steps that are precise, and they really fool cornerbacks and set them up, and he's so quick with it, and they've got these long legs that they can make these steps, force a cornerback to make a step, and then beat them without even getting touched. And I'm going to show you this play and the next play by Dante Pettis that shows you what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to switch over to a Keenan Allen play that's kind of a similar thing. But when you can beat the press, you are an NFL receiver. Because a lot of receivers look good in college and they come out and then they face more athletic guys. And these athletic guys just stand up and press them, and they can't get off of that. And that's why you have wide receiver busts. But when you get a receiver that can genuinely have a good release, then you have someone who can do a lot of things in the NFL. Because if he can beat press, that means times cornerbacks are going to play off of them. And then if they play off of them, and you have a developed route runner as well, that route runner knows exactly how to manipulate them when they're off coverage to just create their own space already and prevent them from coming downhill too hard on them underneath. And that's what you get with Dante Pettis. He is a very complete route runner. He can run routes at all levels of the field. You can tell he's always thinking about how he's running it. He dips his hip well. He has this crossover move, and he's got the same running style as all three of the guys I mentioned. When you watch Michael Thomas and Devontae Adams and Keenan Allen, they kind of have this like wider base they run with. It's like this wide hips, these wide legs, and it allows them to make really sharp cuts and keep their balance and break tackles and stuff. And it kind of just, I don't know why, but it seems to work incredibly well in route running and throw cornerbacks off. So let's run this play real quick where you see Dante down low, gives him an inside juke and beats him so bad that the cornerback can't even get his hand on him. Now, the more impressive thing that you may not notice about this play is not just the move, but if you notice that the ball is actually lined up on the close hash mark. That is what is more impressive about this play. Ball's over here. He's on the short side of the field running a fade from the 4-yard line, which means he has 19 yards to deal with in the short side of the field and still just burns this guy. That is an NFL level play that not many people pay attention to. When you can beat someone on a fade on the short side of the field, that is good route running. That is a good release. And that is the good understanding too of how to buy your quarterback space to fit that ball in that window. And we'll see coming up from here again, just completely makes him whiff. That guy just stutters and is burned. We got a fade here in this next play. Just now the ball is more in the middle of the field, but you'll see with more field, he beats him even cleaner. Same move. And the guy's got to know it's coming, but he sets him up so well, and he's so sudden that he just beats him again in the same play and has even more space. And that is an NFL level play. That is what you want to see. I'm about to show you a Keenan Allen route that does the same thing. You get a lot of this when you watch Keenan Allen. You get a lot of this when you watch Davante Adams. You get a lot of this when you see Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas runs slant routes so well because he does similar things, and he's even more physical than Dante Pettis. So Michael Thomas sets up all of his success, or a lot of success, from slants, and then he's so good at those, everything else follows from that. Now here's the same thing you get from Keenan Allen that every NFL player says you get from him. Same move, destroys that guy, and that is an NFL level play. We got another fade on this play that shows the same exact thing, and again, this fade starts on the he's working on the short side of the field, starts in the close hash, and then again he's able to sell the defender inside and work outside, leave the quarterback space, and then beat him for an absolute crazy one-handed catch. And this is really all you need to see out of an NFL receiver. He doesn't need to run a 4-2 or 4-3 to beat this man. What he needs to be able to do is, if he's pressed, get off of that. He wasn't pressed. And even though he wasn't pressed and he only had 10 yards to work with, he beats him on a play, gets past them, and then makes just a wonderful catch. And that's all you need from an NFL receiver. That is an NFL level play. To, again, set him up, and then once you have him beat, leave space for your quarterback and just catch the ball. And he does all three of those things, and it shows that he's a refined receiver already, and he's ready to contribute pretty early. I'm going to get into his route running next to show you even more of what I mean by that. Now looking at some route running, we'll take a look at this first play. I'm going to show a few, and some of them are coming in off coverage, but this is impressive. And what it shows is, on this route, he's just going to run an inside route. And this guy is about, we'll call it 10 yards off of him, and is giving him cushion because he can't press him, and it's the play design. But even being 10 yards off of him, he's able to do a very deep dig on this play despite how far off he's playing, and this is route running. And I consider this to be kind of harder to execute because this guy has so much space. He can backpedal, and then break on the ball. And that ball is going to take some time to get there because it's a deep dig from all the way on the other side of the field. And on this route, he's able to set him up, keep him outside, and once he starts to commit outside, he cuts in and buys the quarterback space to fit that ball in. Got another play lined up here that shows, again, his really good route running, but also combined with a good release and then another ability to work with a quarterback when he starts to scramble. And these are all, again, things that receivers succeed with when they do well at the NFL level, especially being able to improvise on a scrambling quarterback, because a lot the offensive lines are terrible now and defensive lines are too athletic, so teams are having to find more athletic quarterbacks that can do something when a play breaks down. And when a play breaks down, being able to scramble and be the open one leads to a lot of production plays. So on this play, he's going to run, again, that crossover move I showed you, and burn the guy over here so well the guy can't get his hands on him. We'll show that here. And so, do that one more time. Again, the guy can't even get a hand on him. He beats him so hard. Now what you're going to notice, and this is what you call good route running, is he's burned this guy so hard, you might wonder, well, why doesn't he just start breaking inside? Well, he knows that the first read isn't him. It's over here. And he knows he needs to buy time and space. Now, he could just jet over here on his route, because that's generally what he's doing. But he knows, again, like I said, it's not the first read, so Jake Browning isn't going to come back to him for a little bit, so he needs to buy space and time. So he beats this guy and stacks him inside. And as he's stacking him inside, he's past him and he's holding him on this outside edge. Because ultimately his route's going to be breaking back in, which is why I said he could have just gotten to his route sooner. But he knew that that he needed to make time and that there was going to be space. So he holds the guy off and then he breaks inside. And as he breaks inside, he's got the man beat. He's set up for the touchdown. But he looks back and he sees Jake Browning's in trouble and scrambling. So he makes that contact with the quarterback and says, all right, he's working outside to me. It makes a second beautiful move after beating this guy twice. He beats him a third time and just pulls out inside. And if this is, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, and now he's in San Fran, so Jimmy Garoppolo, this is a touchdown because they have such a quick release. They're getting this in there. Browning has kind of a weaker arm and has to wait to try to get this to him. But this is stuff you see from like a Michael Thomas, so to speak. Michael Thomas all the time sets up his guys with this crossover. Then after he beats them, he stacks them and holds them at this line to create space for him in a way. And again, this is a high level awareness. This is great route running. This is the type of stuff that makes you so successful in the NFL. I want to show you this play from Keenan Allen that kind of describes to you what I'm talking about when I say that this stuff translates to the NFL. On this play, you'll see he's not doing anything crazy special here. He's even lined up in the slot to show that, you know, he doesn't just play outside, and there's a lot of ways to use players that have these talents, these route running abilities. And he doesn't do anything crazy. He just kind of, what you'll see in the play is he runs out, sets up, turns around, and as he knows the linebackers to commit, he beats them. And you don't have to have 4.2, 4.3 speed to do that. He runs his route, he drops his hip real hard, and then busts out. And then you'll see after the catch, he does this little crossover move like I was talking about that allows him to beat that man, take it downfield for some gains. So just to put some things into perspective on what we're seeing from Pettis and then how it translates to the NFL. Another good example with his route running, his strengths are his slants, and he is a deep threat. So he's really good with comebacks. So because he's really good, he's got these nice moves inside. His slant is just wonderful. And then he has this really good comeback because he can get up speed and then he can drop his hips so hard on a dime and come back that you see a lot of his routes. That's how he sets up everything. A slant and a comeback sets up his double moves and all that. On this play here, you're going to see this play is scary how much it reminds me of a play that you see Michael Thomas execute when he was at Ohio State against Virginia Tech. I went to Virginia Tech, so I know this. On that play, it was like the opening game of the season, and Kyle Fuller was on him, or Kendall, one of the two of them. And it's the same exact play, the same move, this double move, and it burns them for just as many yards and a touchdown. And you won't see it here, you'll see it in the replay, but look how open he gets. There's just no one within yards of him, and this is why. Off the play, he drops his hips so hard and sells this comeback and dig route and burns the player, literally makes the player fall on his knees. And it's the same exact play you see Michael Thomas run so well. And that's when I say they are good route runners. You don't need to run a 4-3 to be able to do this. You just have to be able to set up your player. And here's another play the following season where he has a double move, and this move isn't as successful, but this play is still successful, and it shows another reason he translates to the NFL. Look at that body catch. Now, watch this. He's going to set up a double move. He's going to stop and cut out and then cut up. And he doesn't beat the corner, but there's a few things to note here. How well he drops his hips. Sells it. Even though you know he's not going to cut out. He's like 2 yards away from the sideline. So it's not surprising that the cornerback actually stays with him, because he's just, where is he going to go if he cuts out? He knows that play's not going there. But he still actually gets a step on him. So if this were to be thrown up, he's got him beat. But what's even more impressive is this play breaks down. It's not successful. But the fact that Jake Browning trusts him enough to throw this ball up, and he's got the cornerback so turned around. The cornerback's running with him, but he's so confused what he's going to do next because his route running's so good. Browning trusts him to be in the right spot and throw it up. He makes the cornerback get lost even though he's almost step for step with him, and then makes a great contested hand catch and gets his feet down in bounds. And so in the NFL, you can be the best player, but it's not like Odell Beckham and Julio get open every single play from perfect routes. There's good cornerbacks too. But what is good to see from a prospect is when they do a lot of things right, and the defense does a lot of things right as well. And so it's kind of a breakdown, and to turn around and see him still win this play, even though they both do things really well, is what you want to see out of a player. So to put everything together with Dante Pettis, he really is a complete player. And I mentioned earlier in the video that he owns the record for NCAA punt returns for touchdowns with 9 of them. And that is just another impressive piece to his resume. And it's also interesting to note because if you've been following some of the better receivers in the NFL and where they came from and some of their talents and how they developed, for example, Antonio Brown, a lot of them are punt returners. Antonio Brown was a good punt returner, good at special teams, and he was also a receiver, but mostly a really good punt returner. And what happened is he gets drafted in the 5th round, and then they developed him, and he's become the best receiver in the NFL. But it's not just him. The Packers actually followed this formula too. And when you think about Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb, both were tremendous punt returners and were pretty raw receivers coming out of college, but had the athleticism to do the punt returns, and then they developed the other aspects of their game, and they've become Pro Bowl players. And so it's a formula that has worked in the NFL for a while now, whereas you draft good punt returners who have the athleticism to be able to set players up, understand the flow of defenses, and good run after the catch, and develop that art into their route running as well, and they become very successful players. Now, the thing about Dante Pettis compared to the 3 of those players I just mentioned is he's more of a refined route runner than all of them. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to be better than them, because I wouldn't think so. But he's not as fast. His top end speed. He is a fast player, and he has many highlights of deep balls. But he's not. He doesn't have Jordy Nelson, Antonio Brown top speed. But he is more refined coming out of college than they are in terms of route running. And he owns the NCAA punt return record. And you don't see a lot of him catching these screens and taking them to the house for touchdowns. But he is good after the catch. He understands how to run routes. He's valuable in special teams. And he's going to get on the field, I think, pretty quickly. I don't know exactly how Shanahan plans to use him. He runs his own concepts. He's going to want to run some West Coast plays, I'm sure, from slants and comebacks and stuff. But he wasn't talked about as much as I think he should have been in the NFL because he's just so refined, and it's surprising. Maybe he went in the second round because people thought what we're seeing is his cap potential because he's so refined, but it means he's going to be able to get in the NFL right away and play. And then on top of it, Shanahan just needs to be able to use him right. And I mean, the NFL, when players get there, you'll see some of their attributes become even more accentuated as more of a strength. So I totally see that from him, becoming even quicker and releasing even better. And I think he's going to be a really good player for them for years to come, and he's going to be a starter. I guess the question is, how soon does that happen? As always, thank you for watching this episode, and if you like my content and haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. I plan to be releasing videos as often as I possibly can because ultimately I want to make a career out of this, whether it be self-supporting through YouTube videos like this or something else happens, I get picked up somewhere along the way. And if you like my videos and want to support me financially to continue to do this as often as I possibly can, my Patreon account's up to the top right. And if there's anything that you want me to do a video of or explain or answer, just leave in the comment section and I will be sure to get a video out as soon as I can on that. And I just want to again thank you so much for your support, and moving forward, hopefully this can become a good thing.